This is Off the Break Podcast, presented by Silver Screen Insider.
And welcome back to Off the Break Podcast, your podcast dedicated to current movie theater news, operations, and insights from the people that book the movies. I'm Kyle, and joining me as always is Cody and Ken.
All right.
Hey, thanks, Kyle. You nailed that intro. Good job.
I try. I do my best.
Happy Friday, everybody.
Yeah, I'm excited for the weekend already.
Yeah, another week in the books. We all worked hard. We deserve to have a nice weekend off.
I think my week ended up being harder than it needed to be. There is some strategizing going on with these studios. There's some beating up on exhibitors going on, and it's just we're caught in the middle of too much good product.
So just once again, another week that ended up being more stressful than necessary.
It was all, who's bigger, who's going to have the bigger print count, who's going to get into more places, who are you supporting lately? What have you done for me? A lot of those conversations.
Sure.
We're going to have this in the future. Mm-hmm. They're not all that back and forth.
I know. Back to feeling like Steelers wheel. Here I am stuck in the middle with you.
Just so much feast or famine. I mean, we were like begging for content, and now we're like, please get off our backs. Like, we will play your film. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I know we've harped on this before, but October we have 8 wide releases.
Yeah.
In this, we're on pace for this October to possibly the biggest October ever.
It could be. I mean,
possible.
It's entirely possible.
If we get Shang-Chi like that enthusiasm representation on all of these films, it could be huge.
Bond.
Huge.
I mean, starting off at the beginning, Addams Family obviously has a following and it's PG.
Yeah.
We've got Venom 2.
Right.
We have Many Saints of Newark, which has the Sopranos following. James Bond, Halloween 2. I mean, goes.
Dune could do something.
Dune,
That's probably
Dune, Disney PG.
Disney with Ron's Gone Ron. I mean,
Ben Affleck and Matt Damon.
in a period piece for some reason.
We're gonna
Okay.
That one's gonna be good. Don't count them out yet.
Never
Don't count them out yet.
They counted them out when they made Good Will Hunting, and look where they've gone.
Yeah.
How do you like them apples?
I don't. That's a problem.
Well, there's lots of movies to book, so obviously a lot of release changes were made this week, right?
No.
Let me see. Nope is what's written.
Nope.
Nope.
No,
or if it did, it's in 2022 and we don't care.
well,
Yeah,
nope is a
exactly.
4-letter word. Let's change that to nah. That's 3 letters and perfectly acceptable.
Quicker. Let's move through it.
No
But,
release changes. Yay!
but that's good, though. It means that we don't have to freak out and worry about possibilities and what ifs. We can just, at least for now, have a smooth sailing for the weekend and hopefully leading into a great October.
I was think it was smooth sailing, but now these studios have come to me and it's like, why am I not getting in on this little single screen theater that has made $500 a weekend?
Right.
Like, why are we having this conversation? Why is this location all of a sudden like so important that you're not, because they're trying to hit numbers. So what's happening is that there is a battle going on the upper echelons of the executives in these studios over, print counts and getting in enough places and hitting metrics and doing all this, that I have gotten so many phone calls over locations that I'm like, do you even know where this is at? This is not on your normal print count schedule, and these theaters only come up when they have super wide releases. Like, these are not on normal print plans, and now we're talking about them, and it's just like trying to justify the decisions in these little theaters, and it's really crazy. Like, I get you have a big movie, and I would love to play it. I would love to play everybody's movie.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, I don't get to make the decisions for everybody. I don't rule with an iron fist. I don't say, well, this is what you're playing. I have to go back. Every theater is technically my boss, and I go back to them and I say, these are your options. This is what I recommend you do after years of experience. But at the end of the day, you've got to make sure that this theater is successful in your community. What is going to play better? In some communities, that's going to be Venom. Venom's going to be huge. Teenagers are out. They're the ones hitting the theaters. Venom's going to be great. In some communities, it's going to be Addams Family because kids, families, they do better in concessions. They buy more product. You will do less people, but better in concessions on an Addams Family. And in some communities, it's going to be Bond all the way. So
yeah.
it's just, it's just trying to figure out what the flavor in each location is, and then trying to make it work out so that everybody's happy in it. And they're just this week, there's just not. Some people are not happy.
And
I
then
don't know what to do.
And then in some communities, it'd be The Last Duel starring Batfleck.
No, it'll never
Jason
be.
Bourne.
It'll never be The Last Duel in any of these spots. It's never gonna happen.
Well, never say never. Anything can happen.
And then you get a studio out of left field being like, well, we only wanted you to play this for 2 weeks. We're only requiring 2 weeks, but somehow we have a feeling we're not going to get that third week, and I just don't know if I even want to play you if I don't get that third week.
Hey, let's just move on. Let's move down the road, Cody.
Yeah. I'm not guaranteeing anybody anything. We're just gonna
except for a good time at the movies.
We're gonna play the films and let the chips fall where they may. Let grosses dictate our futures.
Yep. That's all we can do.
I've had a rough
points.
week, guys. just I'm a little angry, a little tense. I'm ready for the weekend.
But do you feel better now?
Get it out of your
Ken's
system.
not letting me get it all out. I say a few choice words, some fines, and then I will be fine.
Okay.
I won't do that for the listeners, though. I'll just do it off,
Do it within earshot of the office.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'll just go into my office, shut my door, and scream into something, and then come back out feeling better.
Right.
It's Friday, right? There's no more
Nope,
of this?
there's
Okay,
no more
good.
days.
I get a
mean,
break.
there's only Saturday, but
Okay,
no more
it
days
is
after
Friday.
that.
It is Friday, and we got 2 wide releases this week, one of which Kyle has seen.
Yeah. So we got Cry Macho from Warner Brothers. Clint Eastwood, very excited. That is a film that will play in the little theaters, Ken. Clint Eastwood all the way.
He looks like Clint Lastwood in the trailers.
I know, right? Like how many people had to hoist him to get on that horse
Oh,
so
why
he
are you
didn't
guys
fall
so
off.
mean to the guy?
I don't know.
It's
It's
just-
a miracle he's
It
doing
looks like
this.
he's aging in horse years. He looks like 190 years old.
But to be fair, he's looked that way for a while now, so I can't
Oh,
really
yeah.
tell. It's very confusing. Like, are you petrified yet, or what?
just stuck in time and he's still feeling good.
Clint Petrified Wood?
Yeah. You're terrible.
Oh my gosh.
So mean to
All
the
right.
guy.
Well, the other release was Copshop with Gerard Butler.
Yeah.
We got that R-rated Gerard
Talking
Butler
about
movie.
one that's looking a little rough too. But that's fine. We can't all age gracefully. Mr. Butler.
Clint Eastwood's old. Gerard Butler just earned those wrinkles.
Yeah, he did. Let's
He's
say he's a
gotten
long
his
way
money.
from his 300 days. Just like Russell Crowe. Long way from Gladiator.
What is happening right now? Why are we roasting these poor guys?
I had a hard week, Kyle.
It's genetics. They can't help it.
Gerard Butt Faceler.
Yeah. I think Gerard Butler could have helped it. They've made plenty of money. They
To
could have
get some-
had a little easier
He doesn't
lifestyle.
even look that bad. He looks fine.
In this movie, he looked rough.
Well, I mean, that's because it's an action movie. He was supposed to look rough. Rough around the edges.
well,
Yeah.
Tough guy.
Lead us into
Well,
this,
how was
Kyle.
it? How was Copshop? Because I know that Cry Macho is going to be excellent. Clint Eastwood is amazing. So put that one aside. How was Copshop? Is it a surprise film? Like, is it surprisingly going to do well for us? Because I booked it in a lot of places.
I wouldn't be shocked if it was a surprise because it looks more fun than Cry Macho, and I think while everyone's going to see Shang-Chi, Free Guy, and Candyman are starting to dwindle just a little bit in terms of people going out to see it. So it's possible in some places, like Cry Macho could be everyone's second go-to choice. It might be a little bit tough because of the R rating, but I wouldn't put it. I wouldn't doubt it to be a possibility, I suppose. And I could kind of see why people would want to go see it. It ended up being a good action movie. It was kind of cheesy and a little bit self-aware in a lot of moments, especially with Frank Grillo and Gerard Butler's performances, but that somehow kind of makes it all the better. Like, it makes it from being a boring, gritty action movie to like one with cheese and charm and some really good action in between. So I thought the concept was pretty fun of them both being locked in prison. One of them is trying to kill the other, and there's like a bigger threat that's going on in the midst of the police station that they're located at. And I don't know, it just ended up being a good time. Got to shut off my brain, have fun with a action movie that had its good moments and some good performances, and I came away just enjoying it.
So are there more hitmen trying to get to these guys than just Gerard Butler's character, right?
Yeah, and there's one in particular that's really funny.
Is that
I
the
forget
old
the actor's
man
name.
one?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, because from the trailer, he looks really good.
Oh yeah, he steals the movie too. Like, I wasn't able to mention him in my full review, but he also was really good. Yeah,
Nice.
I know. When I saw the trailer, that looked like the perfect Richard Jenkins role to play the.
Yeah, I could
It looked
see-
like a poor man's Richard Jenkins.
right. I could kind of see that. Yeah.
Well, good.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't sound like there's anything bad about it. It sounds like
No.
it's kind of what you expected it to be, maybe even a little bit better.
Yeah, that's what I would put it as. Like, I came in watching it on a whim. I wasn't really planning on seeing it, but a buddy of mine invited me to go, and I figured why not. And we came out of it being like, hey, it was a good time.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's what we need. And I did book it in more locations than I think Briarcliff was looking for. It's
Right.
Briarcliff, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Than what they were looking for, because I think that this could be one of those kind of not diamond in the roughs, but maybe just because it's not going to do great, but because they just don't have the marketing dollars behind it for
Sure.
it to really blow out. But it might have good word of mouth, and I'm hoping that the second week's grosses hold up pretty well, and that I get 2 solid weeks out of this film.
I mean, yeah, the 2 weeks would be great because it's not coming, towards the tail end of September where there's everything being released, like starting in October. But
Yeah.
it's at a good point to where, some of the stuff from August is starting to dwindle out of everyone's peripheral, and Shang-Chi is obviously going to be the number one thing, but
You think
something has
Shang-Chi
to go in second.
is going to be number 1 over Cry Macho and Copshop? You
Yeah.
don't think that both 2 films are going to knock Shang-Chi off its pedestal?
No, I think it will be Shang-Chi.
Ooh, hot
I-
take from Kyle.
I
is
just
hot
see
take.
I see people still talking about it.
Right.
People really like the movie, and I just don't see that coming from Copshop and Cry Macho as much.
Yeah. Well, cop shops are, so that was always going to have a limited audience. I never
Sure.
thought that was going to be one.
Yeah.
But, Cry Macho, Clint Eastwood, it's got Warner's marketing behind it. I could see maybe that one taking it over, but it is still, it's not an all audiences movie for sure. And it appeals to that older demographic. And while they are not going to probably go find it on HBO Max, they might not also be looking for it in the theater either. They might not be comfortable and ready to return to the cinema yet. So
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing Cry Macho really has that could hurt it. So
yeah.
you might be right. I think Shang-Chi has a really strong chance of being number 1 again.
Yeah. And Free Guy is still around too. I mean, I know I just said that it's starting to dwindle a bit, but it's still recognizable at this point.
Right.
Like, people have heard about it.
Well,
And it's PG-13.
well, it's
In
gonna-
a bigger
it's gonna-
complexes, we'll still have it on screen.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's going to dip below 5 million this week, though, so we're going to be
It
past it.
we're gonna be close.
Yeah, you're
if
probably
it not
right.
this week, it'll be different. It'll be by the 1st for sure. It
Oh, yeah,
can't-
totally.
It's not gonna live beyond October 1st.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that.
Wow. Well, speaking of Disney, we got really good news last week. We didn't get a chance to talk about it on the podcast because they had released the information after.
Yeah, really great news. Last Duel being released on 10/15.
Yeah. Woo-woo! Well, Last Duel and all the other Disney features for the rest of the year will be theatrical only.
Whew, thank goodness.
So this is a big thing for everybody.
Yes.
I think with the, obviously the success of Shang-Chi, it really helped propel, but I think they're also seeing that the life of Free Guy is being extended, and that, they've had some opportunity for like Cruella and some of these other titles,
Jungle
Cruise, to
Raya.
start to go through the full life cycle
Mm-hmm.
of, all through their channels and all through the pipelines. And so maybe they're seeing something that, hey, we're not getting the return on the investment that we thought we were with the streaming. Let's give it to them. I don't know if this policy is going to extend beyond the end of the year. I think that Disney's going to probably work out a more, closer, because they are going to be 30 and 45-day windows. And I think this is where we're coalescing around, is this 30-day to 45-day window where if if it's 30 days, and then if it does really well, it goes to 45, and then if it just bombs, it goes less. But the goal is for 30. The initial goal is to have 30 days theater exclusive. I think that's where we're going to see in 2022. Moving forward, there's going to be the occasional film that's going to be day and date, and they're going to offer the occasional one to streaming, but I think it's going to work out to a 30-day window. I'm really going to be really optimistic on this.
Yeah, I mean, for 2022, it's just a matter of them confirming and sticking with their choices. Like, confirm and stick with day and date. Confirm and stick with exclusivity. Don't do this tightrope act where you're going to be saying, oh, it's exclusive, but then a month before it's released, just kidding, no, it's day and date. Like, as long as they don't do that and they inform us with enough time prior, it's the balancing act that we were going to be expecting. And judging by what's going to be looking for the rest of their release slate in 2021, they're probably going to be looking at, exclusivity in theaters for the 30 to 45 days.
I am a little worried that the reason we're getting an exclusivity is not all based on performance, but the fact that these are a lot of Fox holdover titles, and there may be something in the contracts that say they have to be theater exclusive, like Kingsman, West Side Story, and Last Duel.
This also isn't the strongest slate of films Disney's ever had.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, they're only
Eternals and Gone Wrong are their usual bread and butter, and this is usually what they would have in a year. They would have something at Thanksgiving and something kind of at Christmas. I think Ron's Gone Wrong is a little earlier than what they normally have because they have these other Fox titles that they're hoping to capitalize on. But so I am a little hesitant about that because we will, I think, through this be pretty much through all the end of the Fox lineups after this year, I think.
I think they have one
besides
more.
Avatar.
Oh, I forgot about Avatar. I was going to say there's one other movie. I'm spacing on the name of it now. That is part of. Oh, geez. Okay, that might be what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
There might be one or two, but I think the bulk of them are done after this year.
Correct. That's what I'm thinking.
So hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully it's that, they saw the light at the end of the tunnel and it is theater lights. And we're all going to have theater exclusivity. But I just be wary. But let's celebrate it. Let's promote them. Let's, support this and let's not give them any reason to go back to any other day and dating models.
Yeah, especially for Eternals, because if they made Eternals day and date, that would have been tough.
Yeah.
That would have been tough to see. But it's good. It's still really good news despite our questions about it.
Yeah. No, I'm actually got a sense of relief. Like, these are going to stay. Disney's been really good. They haven't moved a lot of the release calendar, so there is these benchmarks of theater exclusive content that we're going to have for the rest of the year. So that makes me feel really good.
Yep.
So what else we have in the news with the other studios? What's going on, Kyle?
Well, let's start with this little nugget. Christopher Nolan has chosen what studio is going to be releasing his next movie, and he decided to go with Universal. He decided to go with Universal. It looks like, as they're negotiating a deal with this movie that's supposed to be about J. Robert Oppenheimer's role with creating the atom bomb, that he's hoping that this movie can have a budget of $100 million to make, and he also is trying to get that 90 to 100 day windowing for his release of the movie. Although it kind of sounds like Universal wants to stick with 45 days, which kind of makes sense, but I don't know how this is going to play out between the two of them.
Right. Now, Christopher Nolan had a long-time relationship with Warner Brothers. He wasn't contracted with them by any means. It was purely out of loyalty.
Yeah.
And I just really wonder if the, AT&T executives didn't really hurt in their restructuring of Warner's, of the studio, and their push for streaming, if they haven't hurt some of these relationships they have with these directors and stuff.
I'm sure. I mean, unless they were behind the scenes being able to work out those types of contracts to where they give them an extra couple million and just roll with it for this year. But I could see with the big time guys such as a Nolan where it hurt them pretty bad.
Yeah. I mean, but how many $100 million movies are we going to see anymore? To make, that's a big ask, I think, in this day and age, especially since the overall theatrical box office has been hurt. The potential to gross has been hurt.
I mean, yeah, mid-budget type movies or content, it's very possible it's not only going to be a big deal for streaming, but also for movie theater releases.
Because how many films can you make for that 100 million? That's the issue.
The price of plywood, and this guy blows up 737s.
Yeah. That's true.
His movies are going to be expensive
Probably
regardless.
only has like 3 sets.
Yeah.
100 million. Wood's expensive.
It's just one giant monologue. It's a one-man show, $100 million.
We got the actor at a reduced price. We got him at a reduced price, but the set, that's what killed us.
We literally had to buy 1,000 acres of desert to detonate an actual nuclear bomb.
I mean, at this point, I wouldn't put it past him. He's like,
we're not. It was cheaper that way.
So it's going to be a CGI bomb, right? Nolan's just like, no.
I found one, and it's actually cheaper to do it this way.
Cheaper than the airplane I had to blow up.
Yeah. That was an awesome scene in Tenet, though.
Oh, yeah, it was great.
I'm so glad he stuck with real special effects and really blew up that plane, because that was such a cool scene.
Tenet deserves more love.
It really does. It's being lost because it came out in a pandemic, but that was one of the highlights of 2020 for me, was getting to go to one movie, and that was it. It was Tenet, and it was so good.
Yeah. And it did way over 300 internationally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a big movie.
Yeah, totally. I do wonder how his relationship with Universal is going to go. Honestly, this pairing kind of makes sense to me. I think Universal does a pretty good job when it comes to marketing movies, and now that they have Nolan under their belt, I'm sure they're going to go all out when it comes to marketing.
Well, he's definitely not hurt on the marketing part at all. They're very good with that. They have the ability to market across their whole company. So all of NBC and across all of their divisions. So that definitely helps. Warner's is not bad either, though. Warner's, I would say the top 3 studios have always been Disney, Warner's, and Universal. So as long as you're in those 3, I think you're in good company when it comes to marketing dollars spent on you, promotions, those sort of things.
Right. And it did sound like one of his choices was Paramount, which makes sense. It's a big studio, but I wonder if he also chose Universal because of the recent news about Paramount.
Yeah, so Jim Giannopoulos is out at Paramount as head of the studio there. He was, I think, a longtime Fox executive that came on board when they restructured. Mm-hmm. But he's always been a long time, industry guy, and really cut his chops during the theater exclusive era.
Right.
And it seems that Paramount is just, like all the other studios, doubling down on streaming and reorientating their executives to being streaming focused and to create product for Paramount Plus. And so, unfortunately, I think a guy like Jim is probably out, and that with him goes some of those relationships that you have established with creatives, because now you've got a new guy who is not, is into content creation, but not theatrical. This is like short form TV stuff.
So where's Tom Cruise going to go now? Warner Bros? Is going to be Universal? Yeah. Where's he? Oh, this is going to be fun. But no, this is also very depressing news, because we did not want to hear a big studio coming out and being like, no, we want to focus on stuff for streaming rather than movie theaters.
You had to know that something was up with Paramount. They've pulled movies. They pushed all of their major theatrical to next year.
Yeah.
I wonder now, looking back on that Mission Impossible move, if that was, or on the Top Gun Maverick move, if that wasn't because there was an executive shakeup and they now need time to get their house in order, so to speak.
Wouldn't be surprising.
It's all happened around the same time.
Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked if that was the case. I mean, I guess the writing was on the wall. I mean, it was before when they announced Paramount Plus to begin with, but we just didn't want to hear a big studio.
Not another one. Not being like, that's our focus. Well, that you could have said that a year ago, but we've been through this now. We know that your product is sort of worthless unless it has the legitimacy of being shown in a theater. It adds so much more value to your films and your product if you show it in a theater.
Yeah, I mean, the prestige of a Paramount movie is not going to come from Paramount Plus. I think we discussed this before where we're like, ooh, Paramount Plus, what great Paramount movies are. Like, that's not how it works. I mean, it works for something like Disney, but that's a whole other thing.
But even prestige films on Disney, I don't think it's going to work all that well. I think for episodic TV type content, that binge worthy content where you have episodes of content that lives and breathes and is wonderful in the streaming realm. But when you have a solid film that takes you through a whole story and through a whole set of emotions within like a 2 to 3 hour period, and it's not broken up, then that should live in the realm of movie theaters. That type of storytelling should live in the realm of movie theaters. It does not do it justice, and it does not give it any extra value.
Preach.
Streaming it.
Yeah, I mean, prestige television works great for streaming. Prestige movies do not work for streaming. No matter, even if you have great directors and filmmakers like the Scorseses, even still, they can fall by the wayside.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully Paramount realizes
Speaking
that.
of great filmmakers, we got 2 trailers from excellent
Before
filmmakers.
we get into trailers, I do just want to say, last week I talked about women in exhibition, and they were going to have a speaker, Tom Rothman.
Who you were going to take a dump on?
I was. I mean, I fake was. I don't have the balls to do that.
In your brain, you
in
had
my
something
brain,
ready.
that was what I would say. When I look back on that time and when introducing myself, that was going to be my go-to was.
You know how you come up with like really great comebacks and arguments in like a shower? Like you're taking a shower and you're like, oh, I should have said that to them. Like that's how I imagine we all would have been when we were like, let's talk to Tom Rothman and give us a piece of our minds.
Yeah.
when we wouldn't have the balls to do that.
Playing all those conversations in my head. Well, he... Not surprisingly, I love your note. I'll read it just as Kyle wrote it on our sheet today. Just like the release date, Sony pushed back this seminar. He pushed back the interview to October.
I'm pretty proud of that one.
Yeah.
Well,
I laughed
so
hard when
waiting
I saw
for
that.
Venom to come out.
Yeah, he's waiting for Venom to come out so he can be like, toot toot. We're so good.
Yeah. I mean, so the interview is going to come
October 7th, I believe. So it's been rescheduled. So still check it out. Still join Women in Exhibition.
Yes.
It'll still be fun. And now we get to talk to him after Venom comes out. And then I'll get to still maybe ask about the release schedule changes.
Sure,
maybe by then I will gain the courage or have enough liquid courage at the time.
Sure takes you guys a while before you settle on a release date for success, eh?
Well, the way your company structure works, apparently meetings are on the chopping block as well.
Yeah, well.
Meetings, seminars, interviews. Which is dates are meaningless to this company.
Yeah.
Across the board.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted to bring that up, that it is rescheduled for October, so there's a lot of time. You're not going to miss the interview now, and it should be really good. I'm really looking forward to it. Actually,
it will be interesting.
I'm actually
in all seriousness,
yeah, kind of excited to see it in the context of after Venom opens.
Yep.
Like that'll be a good interview. Everybody will be pumped up and he'll be primed in a good place for that because that's going to be big. So, okay, trailer time. Ken, what did we watch? What's trailer number 1?
The
God, just throw it up already.
I know. I'm trying to figure out a way to talk about.
You had time to think about pithy con.
I know. The guy is just so distracting looking that I can't explain. Humperdinck, whatever his name is.
Ansel Elgort?
Yeah, whatever his name is.
Oh, okay.
With his boyish good looks and West Side Story.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so
sure. Sure.
Well, how did you like this trailer?
He looks like a human snail.
I'm not going to disagree.
Why do you guys rip on these people? They're doing their best.
Looks a little bit like a wet blanket in this too.
Yeah.
Like there's something not really going on between those eyes. Like
he's dead behind the eyes.
Yeah. Like I don't know what's going. Where am I?
This was one of the Steven Spielberg legacy projects, right? Like this is one of the things that he wanted to go out on.
Remake West Side Story. Yeah.
Make Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Like, don't put that bad juju on your movie, Steven Spielberg. Just say, I decided I was going to make this.
Yeah.
Don't put that out there.
It definitely, the trailer has a very Spielberg vibe to it, which gives it a magical quality. The way they mix the sound and the shots and stuff, it gets you excited. But
Feels like classic Hollywood. Yeah.
yeah, and I love that. But at the end of the day, it's a musical about teenagers, and it's just
In
dumb.
love.
I'm from the wrong side of the tracks. It's just whiny teenagers, but I love him.
The Jets and the Sharks.
Yeah. Just, I don't know. I'm not a big musical person at all. So, Dear Evan Hansen, In the Heights, this is not. None of these are going to do it for me. I'm not a proponent of this at all. So you guys have to tell me.
This is bad for theaters is to have a musical.
Bad.
You know what? Just skip it. Don't even bother.
Yeah.
No, this
It's theatrical only. Also, it's a turd.
I know. I'm very excited. It's theatrical only. I'm just like, who's going to watch it?
I get where you're coming from. After In the Heights, that still makes me so sad about what happened with In the Heights. I am questioning how good musicals are going to do, especially in a year where we're trying to get back to a state of normalcy.
Yeah.
But the movie looks excellent. Obviously, Spielberg makes great movies.
Magical. It does have a magical
He feels
quality
like he's
to
literally recreating the magic that came from the original West Side Story. But I just don't, aside from the musical audience, and this is like a very popular musical,
super popular.
I just wonder if Christmas is the best time because it convinces families, hey, we have to see something. This could be something like we all enjoy, but
I'm gonna blame this musical thing on Universal. I think they may have ruined the musical with Cats.
with Cats,
They may have actually ruined a genre.
they ruined the fun out of it.
Yeah, they may have. I mean, this is one of those. I mean, at least, thank God they released it before the pandemic. At least we weren't sitting on
true.
Cats waiting for it to come out.
It's gonna be good.
Waiting
It looks
for
amazing.
Christmas 2021. You've waited 2 years for Cats.
For a theater experience unlike any. You know what? But honestly, if they sold it as like a theater experience you can't miss out on, and then that came, that probably could have done gangbusters, right?
No, it would have ruined the industry. People would have been like,
It
why
would-
am I at the theater?
It would have been the reverse psychology. Everyone was. It would have been great reverse psychology.
It would have been
There would have
like-
been something to that marketing
Maybe,
strategy.
or you would have completely just destroyed
the
cinema
industry
as
in a
you know
in
it.
a holiday.
We're in a very fragile state, Kyle. We need
Yeah.
really good product. One bad turd like Cats, and it's like, why even go?
I'm just thinking of the possibility that some magic could have came out of
This
that.
would have been like the stories you heard of in the 50s where they faked aliens. An alien
Right.
invasion on the radio, and then people freaked out and started rioting. This would have happened in theaters across the country. I came out and risked a pandemic for this?
for Cats. All right.
I'm
well,
sure West Side Story and Spielberg will be much, 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 much better. But you never know. You never know.
I just am with you. Like, it's hard to tell with these types of movies if there's success to be had or not. I mean,
Yeah.
The Greatest Showman did well. It didn't open big, but it carried over well.
Yeah.
Why can't the same be for this? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I also had more like catchy, fun tunes. This is very much.
More uplifting than.
Yeah, but it also like more modern sounding.
But even In the Heights was modern and uplifting. I mean,
That's
there was
true.
sad parts, but like it was mostly uplifting.
I thought
don't know. I
Lin-Manuel
can't tell.
Miranda was gonna have it with that. Like I thought he coming off Hamilton and
Yeah.
all that. But man, it is hit or miss.
Now I cannot tell what's gonna happen with a musical.
yeah. I guess
Dear Evan Hansen can make $100 million. I don't know. Anything
we'll
could
find
happen. I have
out
no idea. Also,
on
it's
that.
not going to do that.
No.
Well,
I'm not that
Well, there was
ridiculous.
another trailer that Cody was very excited about
So
that came out this
excited.
week, too.
Oh, come on. This one's great.
Okay, so I saw this thing pop up, Nightmare Alley from Guillermo del Toro.
Yep.
Easy for you to
Yeah.
say.
And I was like, oh, what is this? Who's in it? And then I got the list of people in it. And I'm like, Bradley Cooper. I'm like, he's pretty good. Okay. And I was like, I know, he's good.
Oscar
And then it was
nominated.
Kate Blanchett and Rooney Mara and all these.
Willem Dafoe.
Cody, he sang
Ron
his own
Perlman.
music for A Star Is Born. He literally learned how to sing.
I'm not saying he's not talented. I'm just saying it's all. I felt like they were all old people, and They're not even that old. I just felt like,
they're
these
industry
veterans.
Veterans. That's a better
But
word,
it
not
didn't
legends.
excite me. It
This is
wasn't
the same year they released the movie Queen Bees, and you're saying these are all old people?
Well,
Do you remember that one, Cody? The youngest person in that movie was actually dead.
I'm not saying that's better. I'm just telling you my thought process as this comes up. And then I'm like, Nightmare Alley and all these people. I'm like, what is this? And then I saw Christmas and I'm like, December. No. We don't watch bad movies like this at December.
bad movies.
But then I saw the trailer and I'm like, yeah, I don't think this is going to work in December. I was not. I mean, the trailer looks cool, but it just kept saying, is he man or beast? Is he man or beast? Come in, take a look. Like over and over the whole trailer. And I'm like, ugh, I'm not interested in
Yeah,
this.
but Willem Dafoe said it.
It's true. And he was great. As a Del Toro fan, this is exactly what I expect out of his work, and I cannot wait for it. Now, I agree with you. December and this type of subject matter, it's probably not going to play very well, but I
Hopefully,
think
yeah.
it'll play well for that Oscars run
Hopefully
that
it's
they're
just a
probably
New
going to
York,
push.
LA, and then it'll be a
If-
January title. I mean, that's the only
yeah.
way. Like Shape of Water. That's the only way. I
Yeah,
can see
that's
it
what I'm
working.
picturing this to be.
If he's not going to make a
December.
movie with a giant red man with horns or fighting robots, this is what I want to see from him.
Exactly. I want
wanna
to see
see-
Bradley Cooper. I want to know if Bradley Cooper's a man or a beast.
Yeah.
I do.
And I
think
don't know
Bradley
what to
Cooper
expect
looks
from this.
really good.
Which is what I want.
Yes.
I do think he looks really good in it after seeing the trailer. When I first just saw the cast names, I'm like, oh, these people again. But I'm a little swayed from the trailer. I'm just not enthusiastic, especially it has to be just a platform in December. Please,
No,
please, because
not
I
a-
do not have any room for it anywhere.
Not enthusiastic about this, but you'll watch Escargot Snoggle Sport or whatever his name is.
Ansel Elgort. For the people trying to realize what he's saying.
No, I don't want to watch him either.
that.
I have no room for that, and I'm only trying to make room because it's Disney, and it happens to come out like 1 week before everything else. So I'm trying to make some space for it.
Yeah.
But I don't really want to book it. I've looked ahead to Christmas. I want like 3 screens of Spider-Man. I want 2 screens of Sing 2. I want 2 screens of Matrix. I want a Kingsman, and I want a Journal for Jordan. And I want an extra screen for American Underdog that comes out on Christmas Day.
Right. Yeah.
I have no space for West Side Story. There are other better pictures coming in the next week.
The more playable pictures.
Yes, sure.
Better is a more of an opinion.
Yeah. I guess it's subjective.
It is, but yes.
There are pictures with more butts and seats.
Yes. And I agree with you there. The same goes for Nightmare Alley.
Yeah.
It's a bit harder to find the areas that will play well for
So
it.
just know this is probably a platform release.
Yes. I wouldn't doubt it.
It's like it better be.
It better be.
Why I oughta. Well, that fits the trailer anyway.
It's like, what's it with like the 30s and 40s, 50s era? Like,
Del Toro's
Is it
always
a
been in
is it a
that era.
wide or a platform release?
Come see it for yourself. Come
Come
see.
into the tent.
no.
Come to the theater. Come see for yourself. What type of release will it be?
Really throwing back to the Showman era.
Yeah.
Just go now, hire that guy to stand in front of the theater and be like,
Hire Willem Dafoe.
Yeah. be like, we've got you the Mans of the Spiders.
Matthew McConaughey
and
went
the
to like Texas
Matrixes.
theaters to welcome Peter back. I'm sure Willem Dafoe would do the same.
He would, but then literally no one would walk in front of him or past him.
They'd be like, "Oh, Green Goblin, where'd you come from?"
Isn't he gonna be in the Spider-Man thing?
I don't know. I have no idea. It's
Green
possible.
Goblin's coming back.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, William Dafoe might have 2 Christmas films.
Cody, it's Willem Dafoe.
Sorry,
Dafoe.
Dafoe. Hey, Willem. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sure you can come up with a better, funner name for him.
Or whatever his name is that's in West Side Story.
Ansel Elgort. I knew that one.
What a stupid name.
Well, on that note, I guess we'll wrap up the podcast.
Yeah.
It sounds like something you name your Weimaraner.
What?
Thank you, everyone, for listening to the podcast.
Or
You
like
can-
your winery.
You can find us on all podcast platforms or at silverscreeninsider.com, where if you're a theater owner or manager needing updated information for upcoming releases and the marketing assets to promote the films on social media, you can check out our website there.
Yes, please try my 2005 Ansel Elgort. It has a clean finish.
Yeah, with a flowery hint at the end and an oak age. I love it.
Poor guy.
Oh my God. Where's Steve Jones when you need him, huh?
We just need a 2 first name.
What's wrong
Ricky Bobby. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Bye.